Welcome, one and everyone, to this week's episode of Scotch and Smoke Rings, episode 288. I am your neighborhood friendly Oxhorn, here as always, with my suspenders set to maximum stun. We've got a great show for you today. If my computer would cooperate. We have a great show for you today. A lot of stuff to go through. Cigars to smoke, scotch to drink. That's right. It is actually scotch this time. I have been enjoying the dark beers of the festive season, but I decided that it's February and it's time to get back to our beloved Scoresby Scotch. Not that Scoresby is my favorite scotch in the world, but certainly one of the most affordable. Goodness, yeah, having a lot of computer problems right now. Hope it's not going to impact the stream. Let me get my chats back up so I can see if you can actually hear me. If you can hear me, if you can see me, say something. Let me know that you are there. There we go. Doomageddon says, greetings everyone, I'll stop with the Russian. Thank you, because I can't speak Russian. Imagine Justin is in the house and says, greetings good sir to you as well. Hail, hail Oxhorn, says Andy the DK. Pleasure to see you guys here. We have Baldox, Doomageddon, HT Star, Dragon Exile, Jonath, Greg McLevin Hardtongue, Gentleman Badger, Andy the DK, Baldox, Madman Max, Chaotic Enigma. Everybody is here. Lepidus of Rune Totem, and I'll stop there. Dragon Exile. Alright, I'm going to stop reading names. You're all here. Pleasure to see you here, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to have a fantastic show. So you may notice that I have some ice floating in my scotch glass. And normally I tend to drink it straight up. But I decided to switch tonight because I'm doing an experiment. I'll explain it to you. So, professional scotch drinkers, if there is such a thing as a professional scotch drinker, William Moore is here, Gulbreath is here, Randarin is here. Alright, did I get everybody? Alright, hopefully I'm getting everybody. Good to see everybody here. You know, if there is such a thing as a professional scotch drinker, I hope not. So we'll say scotch aficionados. Scotch aficionados say that adding a little bit of water to your scotch actually releases a lot of the sweet floral flavors that are hidden within the scotch. If it's just the pure alcohol, the flavors are sort of strangled by the intensity of the alcohol. But if you dilute it a little bit with some ice or with some water, then it's supposed to release its flavor. So we're gonna try that. It's scotch. It's scotch. It's good. Can't complain. It's colder. It's still wet, and it tastes like scotch. Makes me happy. Baldock said, I didn't know about the show last week, and I was here. Yeah, I apologize about that. I tried to spread it on social media as much as I possibly could. I put it on Twitter, I put it on Facebook, on the Facebook page, on our Facebook group. And then I had everyone spread the word. But yeah, last week I had to change the day of the show because my little baby girl had to go in for a surgery. A simple surgery, super easy. She just had what's called a hemangioma on her forehead, right here actually. Madman Max says it has to be cold water, Ox. If you add warm water, it ruins the scotch. Yeah, I can imagine. I would never add warm water to scotch. I've added a few ice cubes in here, and it's actually pretty nice. Chaotic Enigma 452 says Rally Stuff on YouTube is a great scotch reviewer. Rally Stuff, alright. I will have to go ahead and check him out. It sounds interesting. Anyway, yeah, so she had this little hemangioma, which is just a collection of engorged blood vessels right on her face, which produced this big bump. and the only way to get rid of it is to cut them out. So we spent all day Thursday getting that taken care of, which is why I couldn't do the show on Thursday. So instead I did it on Wednesday, and we still had a great time. A lot of people showed up, but I'm sorry to those who showed up Thursday and didn't get a show. But I'm here. It's Thursday, and we're all here, and we all made it, and we're all going to have a great show. HT Star says, how much ice per cup Oxhorn? I don't know if there's a rule about that. If there is, I don't know about it. I see people putting, you know, half a cup of water in their scotch. Sometimes they just have scotch and water, and it's just cold water and scotch. Sometimes people put in 1 ice cube. Sometimes people put in a couple. In this particular case, I put in about 3 ice cubes, and I think that's a fair compromise. All right. Next on the agenda is cigar. This is a very special cigar, and I don't know why. Actually, I don't know if it's special or not. What I can tell you is that when I was at the cigar shop, I went into their humidor. There's this great cigar shop on my place. It's a new discovery of mine. I've been going there for a few months now, and they have this beautiful walk-in humidor with more cigars than I've seen in the area. I have been to one shop. One shop in Amsterdam had more cigars than I'd ever seen in my entire life, probably because they were legally allowed to sell Cubans. Anyway, they had an amazing assortment of cigars, but this, of course, was not from there. This was from a different shop, and I saw it and I had to have it. It looks fascinating. It's box pressed, as you can see. It's got a square shape to it, and I've always loved box pressed cigars, as you all know. It's a Cow MX2 box pressed cigar. Don't know what that means. It's kind of like naming and numbering cars. Doesn't really mean anything. Just kind of sounds nice. Ford Escort 5000X. Digital hydraulics. Turbo. Alright. Madman Max 21 says, Oxhorn, I shall not be partaking in scotch tonight, as it's my grand's funeral today, but I'll be making it up later today. Sorry to hear about your loss. Yeah, probably not a thing to celebrate, but at least you're here. Hopefully you can have a nice time. Cigar Ox says, last week you talked about Ben-Hur. That movie was itself a remake, a color remake of the silent version made in the 20s. Really? I had no idea. That's fascinating. I'll have to look it up. Trevor Green says, hey Oxford, have you ever thought of reading creepypastas? I'm probably going to be betraying how old I am when I say pasta's not supposed to be creepy. Pasta's supposed to be tasty. And you don't read pasta, you eat it. Which makes me think that you're referring to something that isn't actually pasta. It's probably some sort of internet meme. Pasta, paste, so creepy paste. Text, somebody's story, a piece of text that they pasted like onto a message board. Is that a creepy pasta? Scary stories, said Man Max. That's a great way to sum it all up. Creepy pastas or scary stories. Now, I prefer my pastas to be white and filled with chunky chicken. That's how I prefer my pastas. However, if you have a creepy pasta that you would like me to read, I will do my very best to do so, as long as it's not, you know, not safe for life or something like that. Dragon Elf says, Ox, I need some help deciding. Lafroig, Caula, or Glenlivet Nadura. I am not familiar with Caula. I do like Glenlivet, but I'm not familiar with the Nadura brand. And I love Lafroig, so I'm going to go ahead and say Lafroig. Lafroig is one of my favorite scotches in the world. Chaotic Enigma agrees. Lafroig is a great choice. Good. I'm glad it's not just me. Randarin says, Ox is moving again. Yeah, that was a bit of the news that I announced last week. I'm moving. Again, I have to be out of this place at the end of the month. So we're currently looking for a new place here in the Seattle area. I think we found it. Not sure. But we're going to be visiting it this weekend, and hopefully it'll be amazing, and I'll have a wonderful place to do this show. Of course, if it doesn't have an office, and if they don't allow smoking, well, then I guess I'll have to do this show in the garage. If it even has a garage. Who knows? Maybe in a month, you're going to see me sitting in my yard with a lawn chair and an umbrella doing this show from a laptop. Who knows? Who knows? The future is a mystery. But one thing is not a mystery, ladies and gentlemen. The show will go on. Ghoulbreath says creepypastas are internet urban legends like campfire stories. Okay, well, I feel more educated now. That's good. I'm happy to read creepypastas if they're fascinating and they pertain to the show. So go ahead and link some to me. And who's it? Trevor Green says, Ox, are you mad about the Super Bowl? Don't talk to me about the Super Bowl, dagnabbit. I have nothing to say about the blasted Super Bowl. All those men in tights running around holding balls. I absolutely have nothing positive to say about the Super Bowl. Don't ask me a question. Alright, I feel better. Sorry about that outburst, ladies and gentlemen, but my entire family, we were sitting in the living room of this house watching the Super Bowl on the big screen. And then the guy catches the ball and it bounces off of 5 points of his body. But he catches it and we're all like, yay! Seahawks have the ball. They're at the end zone. They're going to win this game. And then the very next play. How? Why didn't they just send it to Marshawn Lynch and push it across the line? Why did they have to throw the ball? When he lost the Super Bowl. Oh, soothe me, sweet nicotine. Alas, it puts things in perspective, doesn't it? You lose the Super Bowl for the second time. And you remember what's really important in life. Well-fitting clothes. Snappy hats. Glasses that don't hurt your ears. Cigars without beetles. These are the things that really matter. But what about hippie neighbor Tom? Asks Captain Maximov. I will miss him. I know. I'm going to miss Tom. I mean, yeah, he's our hippie neighbor. But he was such a character. Rifling through my garbage every night. I could hear the cans and glasses in the garbage can being rattled around and organized into neat little piles that I'm sure he took great pride in putting together. Listening to him read off my social security number from all of my credit card statements. Yeah, I'm gonna miss Tom. Good times. Good times. Trevor Green says, I screamed in happiness about the Super Bowl. Yeah, I'm sure you did. He's a Pats fan, everybody. A Pats fan. Okay. I'm glad you had a good evening that night, Mr. Trevor Green. Imagine Justin says, We're men in tights, tights. We roam around the forest looking for fights. Good movie. Good movie. One of my favorite ones that he did, Mel Brooks. People disagree with me, but I liked it better than History of the World. I didn't like that one. Chief Smash says ESPN had an article basically pointing out that a pass at the goal line is not unusual, works often, and that Lynch actually gets stopped more often than not at the goal line. You never know, but the numbers were there. Yeah, I mean, I'm not blaming anybody on the team. The Pats played a good game. The guy who intercepted the ball, I mean, his career is set for life. That guy will never have a bad career. I mean, he basically won the game for the Pats. You know, he played the game well. I'm not upset. What I am disappointed with is how the Seahawks behaved in the play immediately after that. They started a fight, and that's not cool. You don't fight people you're playing games with. I'm still sad we lost. Madman Max 21 says, the way I see American football compared to rugby is big girls and padding. Oh, okay. If that's what you think, all right, all right. That's true. Rugby, they have less padding, but the difference is that the type of men that they hire to play in the Super Bowl are probably 150 to 200 pounds heavier than your typical man who plays rugby. To play rugby, you got to be sort of lean and athletic. To play football, you can have a little bit of a belly as long as you're fast and large. So it's a different sport. Very different. Cigar Ox says, this just in. North Korea has been hacking again to find out that Oxhorn will be receiving something in the mail. Really? I've got something in the mail? I'm excited. I can't wait to see what it is. Thank you very much, Cigar Ox. I'm going to head to my P.O. box tomorrow. Well, when should I expect it? Maybe next week? I'll check. Maybe next week. Greg McLovin Hartung says, tragic news in the machinima community. Transpired a few days ago. Rooster Teeth animator Monty Ohm passed away from an allergic reaction. I read about that on Reddit. That's horrible. I mean, the Rooster Teeth guys have been really kind to him and his family and have pretty much eulogized him. And everyone on Reddit loves him, but it's just so sad to have something so silly and unexpected happen like that. I mean, he didn't even know. Did he not know that he had a reaction? That he was allergic to something? Did the doctors not know? That's just sad. Dragon XL says, out of curiosity, the no politics, just your opinion, what do you have to say about the brutality in the recent deceased Jordanian pilot? Yeah, this isn't a political hot button in my opinion. I don't think anybody in America or even the West is conflicted on this. That was horrific. What they did to that pilot, ISIS. He's referring to how ISIS burned a Jordanian pilot alive in a cage and filmed it and then broadcast it like a movie to some of their citizens, eating popcorn and chewing hot dogs and having a good time. Pretty messed up. I think it's going to be hard to find anybody in America or the rest of the West, whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, conservative, or liberal, who's going to sit there and go, oh yeah, I sympathize with that. No. No, we're pretty much all on the same page here. That was disgusting and ISIS needs to be terminated. What I think is really fascinating, which I saw on Reddit the other day, is that the Jordanian king himself is suiting up to drop bombs on ISIS. He's like, oh, you're going to do that to one of my guys? Okay, I think I'm going to hop in that plane and just defeat the living snot out of you. So, got to hand it to him. He's really responding to it properly, I think. Am I the only one who doesn't care about the Super Bowl, says Randarin? No, you're not. I'm sure there are plenty here that are not interested in it. Typically, I'm not either. This is the first Super Bowl I've really talked about, except for the last one, of course. But there's a major difference, and that's the Seahawks are playing. They're my Seahawks! The Seahawks barely get to the Super Bowl. Been there 3 times. We've only won 1. Lots of great comments today. I'm having a hard time. Sorry for the silence. I'm just sifting through everything. Imagine Justin says, Oxhorn wrote a book? I did indeed, of course, The Tale of Cloran Hastings. Available in fine bookstores online, including Amazon.com, available for a fair price of money. A swashbuckling fantasy adventure, yarn penned by these very 5 fingers, holding a cigar at the moment, but at one point in their life, they were penning this massive tome, and available for a fair price online. I hope you can buy it. I hope you're going to enjoy it. Sansana says something fairly disturbing. He says, the only thing I found amusing about the Super Bowl was the nationwide commercial because I have a screwed up sense of humor and dead children amuse me. Right. Well, remind me not to invite you to my barbecue. Yeah, that was one thing about the commercials at the Super Bowl. I'm going to go ahead and get your Facebook fan art up here so that we can show that off. But that was one thing about the Super Bowl that was really annoying, is there were a number of very somber ads this year. Very sort of, you know, tragic and designed to tug on your heartstrings. And I'm sitting here going, really? Okay, yeah, there's a place for thinking about serious and important issues and acting and trying to formulate a plan. But when your entire family is crowded around a TV just trying to watch a game and maybe laugh at crazy shark monsters dancing on a stage during halftime, well, might not be the best place for a big, you know, nationwide conversation about child mortality. Right? Maybe we can save that for another time? Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I got some fan art to show off here. There we go. That's, I don't know. Yeah, that's better. All right, so this was submitted by someone who sent me a message. Brandon Anthony. And he's asking me if this is a good cigar. And it's called the Cheyenne Master Blend, or the Cheyenne Master Blend. And I've never smoked it, so I can't say if it's a good cigar or not. You should probably try smoking it and let me know what you think of it. I can tell you that I've never heard of the brand, and it doesn't look like an exquisitely made cigar. That said, I've smoked worse. I've smoked cigars that look way worse than that. So I hope you enjoy it, and you should report back to us and let us know how it is. Then there's this by Joel Bryson. He took a screenshot of a surprise streaming episode that I hosted today. That's right. If you were following me on Facebook or Twitter, you saw that I hosted a live stream of Savage Lands, the new survival fantasy game that my buddy and his friends are making at Signal Studios and Digital DNA Games. Look, I'm even wearing the same outfit that I always do. I had the opportunity to host the episode where I sent questions from the fans who were in the chat and directed them towards the creative director, his name is Chris. He's right here. And Chris ran around and showed us parts of the game, and it was a lot of fun. They're going to have a replay of this up on YouTube here in a few days, and when they do, I'll be sure to share it with you all so that you can enjoy it. Then there's this submitted by Christina Walden, and she says, figured I'd toss something on. However, I will not be able to attend the shows for a while due to my new job. Congratulations on your new job, Christina, but I'll show off your fan art anyway. And it says, if your friends encourage you to shave your beard, don't wait. Make new friends immediately. The bottom is cut off. Sorry about that. But look at this excellent man's beard. Look how dapper this chap is. All right, he may be a little bit too dapper. He may be a dandy in this particular picture, what with the chain and everything. But still, I mean, look at that amazing beard. It goes down to his pectoral muscles, and he's wearing a fine fedora. Classy chap. Thank you very much, Christina, for sharing that one. And then there's this one from Morton, and he says, all to challenge the late snow and celebrations. And this is his new beard. Look at that masterful beard that this fine gentleman is growing. Congratulations to you, good sir. Kudos, and keep at it. All right, the next up, we have your recorded messages. Let me go ahead and refresh my message center to make sure none have come in, and some have. So here we go. Next on the program, we have Dragon Exile. You were on Scotch and Smoke Rings today, my friend. Tell us what's on your mind.
Hey Ox, this is Dragon Exile. Thought I'd leave a message for you. Today I may not be able to make it to the show. I've had to rush my grandfather to the hospital for an emergency that I won't get into. Anyways, I have a question for you. Oh, if you had to choose between two different games to base your machinimas off of, would it still be World of Warcraft, or would it be StarCraft, or something other than WoW? Thank you for your time and hearing this message. I hope you have a good evening, sir.
Why, thank you, Dragon Exile. Sorry that your grandfather is ill. We will wish him all the best and pray for his swift recovery. To answer your question, World of Warcraft is hard to beat. I mean, I spent so many hours of my life building World of Warcraft machinima. I played the game, of course, many years ago when I was a big fan. I know the world, I know the art, and they've got everything. StarCraft is harder to work with. It's possible to make machinima with it, but it takes a lot of scripting, and there are just no good tools that allow you to pull the models out of the world and manipulate as you see fit. One of the reasons I was able to make my machinima was because there were great tools like that allowed me to pull the Warcraft characters out and work with them. So a lot of games out there that I'd be interested to work with in the future, but World of Warcraft is still my favorite. Next on the line is Andy the DK. You're on Scotch and Smoke Rings, my friend. What do you have to say?
Greetings, Oxhorn. It is I, Andy the DK. How are you doing tonight, my fine bearded friend?
Very well.
Hope you're doing well. Hope your week is going splendid. Ox, tonight my question is going to be quick and simple. Who inspired you to grow a beard? Or did you just want to grow one just out of the fact that you thought it was cool? Did you maybe have a father figure or someone grow a beard, or your father, brother, someone in your family? Or did you just see someone on the street one day and said, hey, I want to try to grow a beard? But definitely I want to know where you got your inspiration from. I know I am growing a beard, and you are a big part of the inspiration for me to grow a beard because you are such a classy guy. So,
well, thank you.
Thanks, Ox, and hope you have a good week. Hope everyone in the Scotch and Smoke Rooms chat has a splendid weekend, and I shall talk to you next week. Until then, stay classy, my friend.
Great question. It's hard to answer because no one in my family had a beard. My father wore a mustache his entire life, and it looked great on him. The only times he actually wore a beard were the days immediately after he came back from sea. My father was a sailor, as I told many of you already, and he would leave for 6, 7, 8 months at a time to go catch fish. And then when he would come back, he would have a nice short beard. He never kept it too long. But he would shave it all off within a matter of days and then leave his mustache because he really enjoyed his mustache. But both of my grandfathers on my mom and my dad's side, neither of them wore beards or mustaches for that matter, and no one else in my family wore beards. So really, I'm the first of my family to grow a beard and to sport it so proudly. So it's hard for me to tell you if anybody inspired me to do this. I can't even think of a literary figure I admire who had a beard. I love C.S. Lewis, but he didn't have a beard. I love Tolkien, but he didn't have a beard. So I guess I inspired myself. There you go. That's how it works here. I inspire myself. Thank you for your question. Next up is Magin Justin. You're on the program, good sir. What's on your mind? Enlighten us.
Greetings, good sir. Oxford, Magin Justin here. A quick question. When you first tried out hard liquor, what was your first experience with it?
Okay, good question. I was a late bloomer when it came to alcohol. I never drank when I was a kid. I never drank as a teenager. I never drank as a young adult. I think I was probably 28 or 9. This is actually fairly recent. Let's see. It was after I started my Oxhorn stuff that I began to partake in Scotch and rum. I never really tried vodka or any mixed drinks very often. But when I was in California working for Wii Game, I experimented with rum, various types of whiskey and bourbon, and Scotch. And found many of them that I enjoyed, but I settled upon Scotch as my drink of choice just because I enjoyed the flavor more. Rum is a very close second. If you've been watching the show for a long time, you'll remember the days earlier in the show when I would sometimes have a bottle of Kraken black spiced rum on my desk that I would sometimes drink. So I do still love rum, but Scotch is my drink of choice. And I think it was great that I took so long to get into it because I was never, and I always did it by myself. I never did it because I was out with friends or because I was encouraged to do it. I just sort of wanted to try it and see what it was like and develop an affinity to it. So that benefited me, I think, because I was never under peer pressure to get drunk, which I never did. I've been drunk very few times in my life, and I've always regretted the times that I have been drunk, and so I don't encourage people to get drunk. I never developed an addiction to it, never developed a compulsion to drink it. It's just something that's like a garnish, like a sweet and interesting garnish to your day, a way to end the day on a positive note and relax with your friends. Cheers. Great questions all round. All right, I've got the music back up. Oh, there's one more thing I wanted to show you all. and that's this. So I've published a number of articles over the past few weeks that I want to share with you. Go to growbeardnow.com and click the blogs section to check them out. But I did an article on how to groom your beard as a black man, and I've got some great photos of epic black beards in there, which I think you'll find fascinating. I've got an article on what happens when my beard goes gray, how to deal with a graying beard, and what actually happens to the individual beard fibers. Do they get stiffer? Do they get softer? What happens? I explore that in this article. I've got an article on how to comb a beard, because combing a beard is not necessarily as straightforward as it might seem. So I shared my thoughts there. I have a new article on how to keep food out of your beard. There I am with food in my beard, and I'm showing you how to get it out because it's really complicated. And then I've got, so someone called you a neckbeard, which I believe I shared on the program previously. But those are all, I think, interesting articles that you'll enjoy, and I'm going to share a link in the chat here so that you can go and check them out if you want. Ah! Lost my ash. Blackbeard's like the pirate? Said Andy the DK. No. Not Blackbeard the pirate. But Blackbeards as in African beards. Dragon XL says, how hard can it be to grow your own tobacco? Great question. I can't imagine that it would be too terribly hard. I think it has more to do with the soil quality and where on the globe you are than anything else. Seattle's probably not the best place to grow tobacco. I know that Virginia is a great place to grow tobacco, in America anyway, but the best cigar tobaccos do come from the Caribbean. Randarin says, I'm 22 and I still can't grow a beard. Well, at your age, you should have a beard. But you know what? Every man's genetics are completely different. And some people don't grow beards until they're in their late 20s or even 30s. And you could be one of those men. That said, there are a number of substances you can use to jumpstart your beard. I explore them on growabeardnow.com. They include a minoxidil substance. Lipogain is the brand that I recommend. And it works by dilating the capillaries under the skin of your face, increasing blood flow to your follicles, which brings more nutrients to your follicles, forcing them to grow beard hairs. And it works. So check out growbeardnow.com if you're interested. I've got lots of tips there. Greg Hartung says, honestly, my view on facial hair at the moment is the same as my view on finding a significant other. I will engage in such activities when I feel like it and when the time is right. That's a good philosophy. Don't wait too long because time does go by quickly and you will have many opportunities that come to you in your life that you shouldn't ignore, and you may have to go make opportunities if they don't come to you on their own, because your 20s is a decade where you really set the pace for your entire life. All of the big decisions that you make in your life are almost always done in your 20s. Your career, your education, who you marry, your children, your finances, the loans that you take, almost all of that is done in your 20s. So it's an incredibly short decade and an incredibly important decade. So don't let it slip by without making some important decisions. Nebraska Ball says, what is that? A cigar for ants? Yes, if you're measuring the cigar with the screen, it's probably small, but it is actually a full-size cigar, but I've been smoking it, see, and so it's smaller now. Trevor Green 98 says, hey Alex, what was your thoughts on the Clash of Clans advertisement? He's talking about the Clash of Clans mobile game application ad that showed during the Super Bowl this year and also last year. And I gotta say, I'm not impressed. First of all, there's way too much cleavage. Second of all, it's just, I mean, it's a mobile game, and they're really going all out to advertise a mobile game. And the gaming experience really has nothing in common with what they promise in the ad. I mean, the ad has got these epic armies moving towards each other and dragons and magic and all of that, but the game itself is just an over-the-head sort of, you know, army plotter. It's I don't know. I wasn't terribly impressed with it. Not my thing. Madman Max 21 says, Oxford, my beard feels like it's getting to feel like wire. Is there any way to make it feel softer? And yes, the best way to make it feel softer is to use either beard oil or beard balm. They are leave-in beard conditioners. I have some in my beard right now. It makes your beard silky and smooth. Oh, that's not Clash of Clans. That's Total War. Oh. Oh, Game of War. Oh, okay. Oh, Clash of Clans is the one with Liam Neeson. Oh, okay. Thank you for that correction. Yeah, that was funny. I had to admit, that was funny. I mean, Liam Neeson, sure, he's going to do the whole Taken shtick probably for the rest of his life. When I do, I will find you, and I will kill you. Okay, how many times can he do that in a commercial before it gets old? All right. But it was still clever, and I still laughed at it. And I thought that that was a little bit more appropriate for a mobile game. But the Game of War one, I was like, all right. Anyway, go to growbeardnow.com and navigate to my beard care section where you can find some information on beard balm. That's the best way to keep your beard from feeling wiry. Abin Deshin asks, do you make your own beard oils? I've been making my own for a while, and I'm trying to find a nice balance between cedar and aloe, so I don't get dandruff or flaky skin. I do not make my own beard oil or beard balm yet. I'm considering starting that up here soon. I have some guides on growbeardnow.com, how to make beard oil, how to make beard balm, and you can read some of those for some tips. A lot of great comments from other people who have tried to make their own products that can probably help you out. So go to growbeardnow.com and check out the articles there to help you create your own stuff. Cigarox says, and now a moment of silence for the death of Radio Shack. I know, right? 97 years. And they finally declared bankruptcy. They just didn't adapt with the times, you know. They sell a lot of radio and circuit board creating stuff. So when I was a kid, I was into making robots, and I would go to Radio Shack frequently to get resistors and transistors and, you know, circuit boards, and I had a soldering gun, and I would solder these things together, and that was fun. I was a frequent customer, but, you know, it doesn't pay for a company to only do that or to focus on that. They tried with phones and other stuff, but they just didn't pivot in time, as they say in the startup world. John Badger says, will you be gathering around the fire for a friendly game tonight? Yes, I will. I know it's 40 minutes into the game, but there are just so many questions today. The show's going to go for a while, so don't worry. We're going to be doing this with plenty of time to continue to play Hearthstone. Zanra says, hey, Oxford, my birthday is Saturday. Any suggestions on what to try first? Perhaps something to help me grow manly beard like yours? Well, if you're turning 21 on Saturday, I suggest choosing a handsome Scotch, Glenlivet, Glenmorangie, and then Lafroig are all great scotches. Andy the DK says, thanks so much for putting pressure on me, Ox. Yeah, I know. If you're in your 20s, you only have a few years left. You get to cracking. Sensana asks an interesting question. He says, I know you didn't really like somber commercials, but what did you think of the Throw Like a Girl commercial? I disliked it, and I'll tell you why. There's this counterculture in America and London and basically in the West right now to say that there's inherently something wrong with femininity, that women need to be more like men. And I don't think that's true. I mean, I came from a household where my mom owned her own business. She was a working mother and a full-time mom. So I'm not sitting here saying that women shouldn't work or anything ridiculous like that. So don't get something like that in your head. I'm not saying that. But when you have a commercial that talks about, basically the impetus of that commercial is that at one point in a girl's life, at puberty, when she's a young child, she's many girls are just as tough as little boys. They want to wrestle, they want to, you know, rough and tumble, they want to play sports. They're just like little boys, and that's completely fine. But once they hit puberty, they start to develop more feminine characteristics, and they become less athletic, some of them, and they become more interested in appearance and beauty, and these are natural things that just happen with humans. And the impetus of that commercial is to say, well, why is this? Why is it that when girls hit puberty, suddenly running like a girl is seen like a bad thing, or they no longer want to run like a man, they want to run like a girl, and all of this sort of nonsense. And they're implying that somehow it's culture. That culture is really stripping them of their equality with men and making them into something that they otherwise wouldn't be, like a subservient housewife, for example, or someone who is not on an equal playing field with men. However, I think that they've actually got that flipped up. I think that the thing that starts it is puberty itself. Yes, that thing happens at puberty, and it's not some external factor that is forcing women to be turned into this feminine stereotype, but it's the act of puberty making women want to be more physically beautiful, want to be interested in boys. They become more interested in feminine things, whether it's fashion or whether it's cosmetics or whatever, you know. And that's to say that there aren't adult female scientists or adult female truckers or adult female helicopter pilots, because there are, and they're great. And they should be allowed to do all of that, and they can find those things interesting. But at the same time, I also don't think that femininity should be condemned. If a woman chooses to go fly a helicopter, that's fantastic. That's great. We shouldn't shame her. She should be free to do that. But if a woman chooses to be interested in cosmetics or chooses to be a wife and mother for the rest of her life, that is also completely acceptable. And the kind of commercial that was at the Super Bowl somehow saying that it's bad for a girl to quote-unquote run like a girl. No, that's not bad at all. If a woman isn't an athlete and she wants to run like a girl, she can run like a girl. That is her choice. If she wants to be a housewife, she can. That is also her choice. So that commercial kind of rubbed me the wrong way. And I probably talked about it for a little bit too long, didn't I? Moving on to the next question. Aben Shine corrects me and says, Aben Shine is how you pronounce my name. Thank you very much. Madman Max Turlin says, Oxhorn, can we see your underbeard? Alright, sure, here we go. There it is. That's the underbeard. My natural growth line, right there. I do not shave it, I let it grow wild and free. Chaotic Enigma 452 says, am I the only one who's upset that people didn't recognize Missy Elliott? So, I didn't recognize her. I had no idea who she was. Right? Yeah, I mean, I grew up in the 90s, but I didn't listen to rap or R&B or hip-hop. I listened to... What did I listen to in the 90s? I have no memory. Anyway, but my wife recognized Missy Elliott, and my sister-in-law recognized Missy Elliott, and they flipped out. They're like, is that Missy Elliott? And they apparently have fond memories of her, but I just didn't have anything to connect that with. Dragon XL says, oh, thank you, God. I am now not the only one who thinks that way. Well, you and I, you know, we're not alone, my friend. There are a lot of people who think this way because it's a normal way to think and are silenced into silence due to political correctness and external pressure. But do not be afraid, my friend. Jonah says, Elizabeth is very happy with what you said. Oxhorn, and says thank you. Well, thank you, Elizabeth. Jonath, sir, you married a classy lady. All right. You fine ladies and gentlemen are pestering me to play Hearthstone, and play Hearthstone I shall. It is my pleasure. Let me fire it on up here, and we'll get a game going. Cigar Ox and Dragon Elf say, who? To Chaotic Enigma's Missy Elliott reference. So, a rapper or R&B artist, I don't know what she is because I never listened to her music, but she was popular in the 90s and she showed up in the middle of the Super Bowl halftime. It was supposed to be Katy Perry to do the Super Bowl halftime, and she did, and there were big dancing sharks and all sorts of weird stuff. Just Google Super Bowl halftime and you'll see a video of it. It was weird. But then halfway through, Missy Elliott popped up and started singing, along with Lenny Kravitz, of all people. Missy Elliott and Lenny Kravitz with Katy Perry. And they were singing and stuff. And everyone in my house freaked out. Well, not everyone. My wife and and my sister-in-law freaked out because they were so excited. Apparently, Missy Elliott had some sort of medical problems. She's cancer, I think. I'm not sure, but she was treated and she dropped out of the media spotlight for years. No one's really heard of her for like a decade. And then suddenly she pops up in the Super Bowl halftime and everyone freaks out. It'll help her career, I'm sure. But yeah, I'm not familiar with her music. So, sorry. Chief Smash makes an excellent point. He says, it's not that we're silent. Many of us who value the good in both masculinity of men and the femininity of women are busy living normal lives with each other and not making protest commercials, etc. And that's an excellent point. The tragedy is that you've got, and I'm going to be addressing this in an article that I'm writing on something called lumber sexuals. Don't get me started. I'll get to that in my article. But basically there's this movement started by young 20-something journalists who graduate from a college with a degree in journalism and then use their opportunity to push their own social agendas by writing nonsense, absolute rubbish and nonsense. But what's happening is because they have a podium and the rest of humanity who's actually being productive, going out, starting careers, getting married, having children, founding their lives, they're busy doing those things with all of these people who are educated beyond their intelligence go out and start writing articles about political correctness and lumber sexuals and whatever, and they end up owning the conversation because everybody else is too busy to have that conversation, and so it gives the appearance that that is the prevailing thought when it's really not. So one of the things that I'm hoping to do, well, I won't get into that just now. That's a dream, my friends. That's a dream. Oh no! Hearthstone is downloading an update. I am so sorry. I should have popped this up before the show started. All the others are... Yeah, alright, so it looks like you may just have me. Well, I'll let this going in the side, and if it messes up the stream, I'll have to stop it. Let me know if you start to see a lot of lag, and if you do, I'll stop the download of the update, and we'll just do the show. But otherwise, I'll try and download the update so we can get a little bit of Hearthstone in tonight. Sensana84 says, Ox, don't lump those types with true journalists. I take offense to that. Okay, yeah, there are two types of journalists. There are people who go out there and research the facts and check the references and produce something useful for mankind. Then there's yellow journalism. And yellow journalism is the type of journalism that makes the facts hazy or stretches the truth in order to make a political or social point. Yellow journalism is not well researched, and it's really another form of propaganda. And I fully admit that there are both kind of journalists. Sadly, what I'm seeing, especially in some of the popular online blogs like The New Republic and Vox and Salon.com and stuff like that, is an influx of all of these yellow journalists who are just making this rubbish. And you sit there going, what is this? On the other hand, you still have the true journalists who write true journalism for CNN or Fox News or MSNBC and ABC, but even then you start to see some yellow journalism start to weave its way in. I've just noticed recently that there's a lot more yellow journalism that I've noticed since really people started graduating from colleges in the early to mid 2000s, and I think that those people are primarily responsible. Not, of course, Sensana, that you are. I'm sure that you are a fine journalist. Varler says the Hearthstone Undertaker Nerf is the best thing since beard oil. Is that what I'm downloading right now? Alright. Well, at least it'll be a fair fight. Cigar Ox has some rather pointed criticism towards rap and R&B, and he says, I prefer music artists that sing their songs and not simply talk in rhyme. I'll leave that one alone. Just saying that didn't come from me. That was Cigar Ox. Although he has some support, Chaotic Enigma 452 says, completely understandable. Randarin says, so basically Anita Sarkeesian's entire career. Pretty much. Pretty much. Yeah, my thoughts on Gamergate kind of weave into this whole thing, but I won't start that. I'm not going to start that. Okay, the update is halfway downloaded. And I'm starting to see a little bit of lag, but I'm not getting any complaints from you, so I will keep on going. Senson84 says, I'm a small-town newspaper reporter. We have 3 TV stations in the area, but none of them cover city politics and local government. Usually, I am the only one there, if that says anything about my thoughts on journalism. It says a lot. Small-town newspaper reporters, they don't have the time to get into the weeds of all of this social progressive nonsense. They report about snow drifts and, you know, important things that are happening in their community, which people in that community rely upon to get their news. And so that's an admirable line of work to be in. So I tip my cap to you, Sims, on it. Cheers and bottoms up. Lepidus of Rune Totem says, I prefer metal and Irish Celtic music. I do have a soft spot for Irish music and certain types of metal. I don't really like the screaming metal where you can't understand what's being said. I like a lot of Norse rock, I guess is what it would be called. I don't know the name for it, but German rock, like Blind Guardian. Norse rock, like, well, I guess it's not Lork. There's this one band that comes from the Faroe Islands. Is that how you pronounce it? The Faroe Islands. It's a set of islands that are north of Scotland, and the band is called Tyr, T-Y-R, named after the Norse god Tyr, and they produce some amazing music. I don't know what genre they're called. I just think it sounds good. Madman Max 21 says, Oxhorn, your scotch has been left unattended for too long. Take a drink or we shall fine you. Cheers, good sir. Bottoms up. Tony is black. Sorry, hold on a minute. I have to test something. Okay, thank you. Will do. That's what I was... Okay, so Tony is Black posted an image that was, at first, something that I thought was legitimate, but it looked fishy, and then the angel says, ban Tony is Black, so yeah, I'm going to ban him. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. Folk Metal is the name you're looking for, says Abenshin. Did I pronounce your name right that time? Abenshin? Abenshin? Abendschein. Okay, Abendschein. Folk Metal. Abendschein. Alright, that's what I'm looking for. Santana says, what are your thoughts on electronic music and things like Daft Punk? Is that music in your opinion? Yeah, I have. I do. I love Daft Punk. Let's see. Should I go through the names? Basically, on Pandora, I've got a number of different artists that I've discovered through liking Daft Punk. There's this one band that does some... It's basically music like this that we're listening to now, but it's been turned a little electronic. Beats Antique, that's the name of the band. Beats Antique. They've got some pretty amazing music, and it's kind of like electronic stuff like Daft Punk. Not necessarily dubstep. Greg Hartung says, you did mention The Lay of Thrym, your favorite song, you said. Yeah, it's one of my favorite songs now. I discovered it from the TYR band Tyr. The Lay of Thrym is just amazing. It's an amazing song. Alright, 10% left to download. The Angel 3 says I got to go. Well, thank you very much for helping me police this chat, my friend. Electro swing. My buddy loves that stuff. Yes. Yes, electro swing. That's the genre of music that the Beats Antique fellows fall into, I believe. And Parov Stellar. Parov Stellar is another great electro swing band that I really enjoy. You've probably heard some of their music and don't even know. $100 megs to go. Baldock says, mark your calendars. Episode 300 is on April 23rd. Good, so it's after tax season, right? I'll be able to relax. Episode 300. 300 episodes. That's coming up fast. We've been doing this show a long time, ladies and gentlemen. Chief Smash said, I just did a search for folk metal and came up with a band called Ailstorm, which apparently specializes in something called Scottish pirate metal. Yeah, I've heard them before. They're okay. They're a little crazy. Not something I would listen to every day, but every now and then they're good for a laugh. Imagine Justin says, speaking of music, what opinions do you have on Cranius? Since I know Cranius, and he's a good friend of mine, I can't say anything bad about him. No, he's amazing. He just recently got married to Legs. They live in the same city that I do. He's a shy guy, but he's an incredibly talented guy. His music is amazing. And he's a great singer. Did you know that he sang a lot of his own music? An excellent singer. All right, so it looks like it's finally loading.
Welcome! Boys, make some room by the hearth, won't ya?
I always get a kick out of that one. Alright, there we go. Yay, I got a bonus star. Woo. But I'm now an angry chicken. Alright, taking all challengers. Come one, come all. Let us meet on the battlefield. Oh my gosh, what is happening? Keep trying. Ah. Come on, Hearthstone, do your thing. Why don't you allow me in? Oh my gosh. Fancy Badger. Oh. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Oh wait, did I get in? Madman Max asks, Oxhorn, have you heard of Sabaton, which do power metal using subjects like World War II and World War I and the European wars? I have. I really enjoy Sabaton.
I will fight with honor.
Sabaton has actually caused me to look up specific historical events on Wikipedia to learn more about them. Great little band. Fancy Badger, pleasure to meet you on the field of battle. Alright. Is it my turn? Alright.
Elements guide me. Well met. Greetings, friend.
Alright, Fancy Badger, do your thing. Don't hold back. Rice Steel says, play ranked, and I normally do, but when I'm doing the show, the fans like to play against me, so instead I accept challenges from all of you. You're welcome to challenge me as well.
Job's done.
Alright, let's see what we can do. Sword of Justice.
One shot, one kill.
Ooh. Whenever you summon a minion, give it 1/1, and this loses 1 durability. Okay, so you can do that 3 more times. Fine.
Job's done. Not on my watch.
What is going on here? Holy cannoli. Well,
What to do? Your magic shall not save you. Job's done.
okay. Strategy. Strategy. Let's see, if he does that, then I do that. Then he does this, and then that. And I'll have to do that. And then that happens.
Reporting for duty.
Last.
What's the pipeline?
Job's done.
He wanted to get that out. Oh, rubbish! Oh, really? Okay.
Reporting for duty.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, time to do my... There we go. Looking a little better. Chief's Mess says, I'm so glad I came to the show tonight. I've been looking for some good medals. So far, Sabaton looks like a winner. Turisas seems pretty good too. Anyone ever listen to them? Yeah, I've listened to Turisas on Pandora. Theirs is more choral. They've got a lot of harmonies. But it's good. It's very reminiscent of like Greek warfare movies that you've seen anyway. Holy cannoli. All these bubbles and whatnot. Oh!
Reporting for duty.
My goodness.
That was a mistake. I wonder.
What do you got, my friend? Oh, no! Oh, rubbish.
Reporting for duty.
There, try that on for size.
Put your faith in the light.
No!
Reporting for duty.
What is this? Divine Shield, Taunt, Death Rattle, Equip a Sword. Divine Shield and Taunt. Oh, Gavin, go to your mama. Daddy's still smoking. Close the door. Good boy. Ow. That was loud. Okay,
Elements guide me. Elements guide me.
yeah, I don't know if that was a good decision or not.
My shield for Argus!
Oh, goodness!
Reporting for duty.
Paladins are tough.
Well played.
I think this is it, isn't it? Yeah, oh my gosh, almost exactly. Exactly. Congratulations, Fancy Badger. You have succeeded in besting Oxhorn. Gavin attacked, says Baldox. Yes, he did want to see what Daddy was doing, but when I'm smoking this, excuse me, he is not allowed.
The elements will destroy you.
Madman X21 says, if you're looking for a good Sabaton song, 7734 is one I like, as it is No Bullets Fly. Well, thank you. I'll have to check that out. Madman Max 21 says, Auction, do we need to remind you to be humble every week? Yes, this is true. I should probably be humble. If I'm not, well, you know, I might not win. So let us be humble.
I don't have enough mana.
Oh, okay. Let's see here.
Elements guide me.
Mind if I roll me?
Andy is Diablo. Pleasure to meet you on the field of battle. Whoa! Silence my guy. Oh. Can I unsilence a silence by silencing the silence? Because silence is magic, so what if I silence that magic that causes the silence? That's the way it should be. Baldock says Gavin has 15 more years to go before he can do what Daddy smokes. Gavin will be 3 in June. Your math is correct. He will be 3 years old in June. And many of you remember when he was born. But I bet that makes you feel old. It certainly makes me feel old. Madman Max says, would you mind if I link to No Bullets Fly? It's a song I recommend. Not at all. Feel free to link to that particular song. Okay, I've got to win a battle here, so what is going on?
Elements guide me.
Taunt, Death Rattle, summon a 1/2 slime. Thanks, Man Max. I'll take a look at that. Dragon Elf says, Ox, the answer is to play more totems. That is often the answer. No! Take control of a random enemy minion.
Great music of the 1920s and 1930s deserves the technical appreciative modern audience. You can help to find that audience. Why not email your friends right now? Let them know about the wonderful movies that are right here on Radio Disc News. RadioDiscNews.com. HappyMusicRadio.com.
Alright, I have a strategy. Oh dear. And there goes my strategy. What just happened? Give your other minions Wind Fury, Taunt, or Divine Shield at random. Oh my gosh. And they all got freaking Wind Fury.
Elements guide me. Thank you. Well played.
Alright, let's see how this works. Another one of those guys. Those guys are rough. I should use those more often.
Your magic shall not save you.
What's the fight plan?
Alright, alright. Ooh. Wow, well played. What was that? Reincarnate. Destroy a minion, then return it to life with full health. Where did you get that?
What to do?
Stay on target! Stay on target!
I think I'm still in the game, ladies and gentlemen. Restore 8 health.
minions, sirs, soldiers of the cold
What?
dark, obey the call of Beowulf.
Wow.
Elements guide me.
Stay on target! Stay on target! Thank
Return. Elements guide me. Job's done.
Tricky, 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 tricky. Well saved.
Elements guide me.
Mind if I roll need?
Elements guide me. Elements guide me.
You have a very nice deck, Andia's Diablo.
Elements guide me. Elements guide me. I see.
Ah. Wow. Nice combo there. Enemy spells cost 5 more next turn. Death Rattle. Resummon this minion. Death Rattle. Resummon this minion. Okay,
Elements guide me.
I got the beast in my sights.
Doctor! There's little time.
I'm still in the game. Why are you doing that? Oh. What the blazes? How did you pull that? Oh my gosh.
Elements guide me. Gotcha. That was a mistake.
Whoops. What's going on with my camera? Oh, blast it all. I could have got him. I know it. I had him. I know. I get it. I get it. No, I had him and I lost him. Right. My fault. Oh, blast it all. I should have just done the math. Why didn't I do the math? Good game, ladies and gentlemen. Alright, I gotta fix my camera. Alright, my other camera's not working for the moment. Not sure why. So sadly, you're stuck with this one. Let me try and figure out why this isn't working. I totally had that too.
Hurry on death for Doomhammer.
There we go, it's back. Huzzah! Man, can't believe I didn't just sit down and do the math. Congratulations on your fine victory, my friend. It was worth it. Yes, I had it, then I blew it. Ugh. He says, ugh, it's the Seahawks all over again. Okay, what am I doing? What am I doing? That's right, I'm...
Mind if I roll knee?
Job's done.
There we go. Alright, I think I'm back on form, ladies and gentlemen. No more distractions with super duplicated craziness.
Hey, give me that!
Madman Max says, Octon, for that blunder, hit yourself with a hat. Alright, I will. There we go. Alright, what was I doing? Where was I? Yes, okay, I still have him, but his bubble's gone, so then I must do... Trevor Green asks, would you ever go on a podcast with Jesse Cox or Total Biscuit? I have done both in the past. Both are very fine chaps. And yes, I'd do it again in the future. Although they're both super busy these days.
Charge forward!
Let's see.
Job's done.
This blasted camera just keeps disconnecting. Hold on, I'm trying to figure it out. Okay, where was I? Madman Max says, maybe unplug it, then plug it back in. Yeah, that's what I keep trying. Okay, what happened in my absence? A lot. Okay, At the start of your turn, you have a 50% chance to draw an extra card. Cool. Whoops! Ah! Man, that's what happens when I get distracted. Chats and videos and cameras unplugging and lag and... I'll still win. I'll still win. We got this, ladies and gentlemen. Never fear. Yeah, that's a cool card. Sometimes it summons some pretty epic or even legendary cards. So can't complain about that. Sometimes it summons that Blood Elf that destroys everything on the screen. That happened last week. Thankfully, none of my minions were on the screen, so I got lucky.
Get behind me.
Your turn, my friend. The ball is in your court. Alright, Kai Meister, I just added you.
Handle it.
Don't think I have any more room, though. Let's see. Okay, where was I? Oh, yes. Alright, I'm feeling pretty good. Totally gonna blame my decks if I lose. Yes, I just didn't get enough decks last time. It wasn't that I failed to attack the guy, even though I could have killed him. No, it was my deck.
What now?
Looks like I don't have any pending friend requests, and I have one spot available. Alright, Imagine Justin, your move.
Truth is my shield.
This will sadly be the last game, ladies and gentlemen, as I must depart. Okay, sorry, I had a text. Alright, where am I? Okay.
Elements guide me.
There we go. Finally, I finally got a victory. It only took an hour and a half, or however long I've been playing this game. Well, thank you everybody for challenging me to these battles. I do appreciate it. I've got to take the family out for a nice steak dinner, so I'm going to make this quick. What is on your mind, ladies and gentlemen? Let us blow a smoke ship, as I tend to do, here at scotchandsmokerings.com. There we go. Much better. Good game, Imagine Justin. Nicely played. William Moore says, Oxhorn, Staghorn, and Mortu sailing in a bacon rowboat in the middle of a sea of Scotch. As the three men sit in the boat, they fish for red snapper. Eventually, Oxhorn goes to retrieve another fish, but as he reels in his catch, a giant squid steals his fish. Outraged, Oxhorn leaps into the ocean using his druid powers to turn into a shark. Oxhorn battles the monster as a shark. Meanwhile, Staghorn and Mortus flail the beast with their fishing poles. After a long battle, Ox climbs back in, and it cuts off there, but I'm presuming that I climb back in with the octopus defeated and my clutch of fish securely retrieved. Alright, we're going to go ahead with the William Moores because I'm short on time and I have to jet. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Smoke ship time. Pay close attention or else you may miss it. Madman Max 21 says Oxhorn dancing on a Spanish galleon while his family kick gnomes off the bow and Staghorn eats pecan pies with a hat. Sounds delicious. Alright, here we go. Oh! I hope you didn't blink. If you did, you missed it. But for the briefest of moments, we had Oxhorn, Staghorn, and Mortus sailing in a bacon rowboat in the middle of the Sea of Scotch. As the three men sit in the boat, they fish for red snapper. Eventually, Oxhorn goes to retrieve another fish, but as he reels in his catch, a giant squid steals all of his fish. Outraged, Oxhorn leaps into the ocean using his druid powers, turns into a shark. He battles the monsters as a shark. Meanwhile, Staghorn and Mortus flail the beast with the fishing poles. After a long battle, Ox climbs back aboard, having defeated the octopus and retrieving all of his fish. Badge Justin says, I saw it. I'm glad. It's an important piece of art. Historians will be writing about these smoke ships in like 100 years. True story. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for coming to this week's episode of Scotch and Smoke Rings. I will try to have it up on YouTube as soon as possible. In the meantime, my friends, be sure that you make classy friends and you engage in classy activities, all while staying classy.